We got some important Tesla stock news today. It's like Tesla's entering this new era, but first let's start with this. This is actually seriously good news. You have to understand full context to really see what's going on here. Tesla bears always use unverified anecdotal examples of Tesla owners annoyed by Elon's political views as evidence of Tesla brand damage and claim Tesla owners are ditching their Teslas for other EVs. However, in a report recently released by S&P Global Mobility, Tesla ranks the highest with a loyalty rate of 68.4% for the first half of 2023, which that in itself is not all that big in terms of news, but that is 5.4 points higher than last year's rating of 63%. Now, if Elon's political views were hurting Tesla sales, how come more people are keeping their Teslas? Tesla has not released a new model, so you cannot say that, oh, Tesla released the Cybertruck and therefore everyone is buying it and they are not switching to another brand. And that's why the loyalty rate is so high. No, Tesla has not released any new models recently that would have impacted these numbers. And yet, the retention rate is actually higher. So that's seriously good news. Now, one counter argument to this is, well, Tesla cut prices by a lot, so that's why people are staying with the Tesla brand. You mean the people that were upset because Tesla cut prices and now they lost quite a bit of resale value? You mean these people are now happy to buy another Tesla? Is that what you're telling me? Or possibly, what is also the case here is that people did get mad at Elon for his political views and they bought Teslas anyway because the prices are just so good. In other words, if Tesla keeps lowering prices and the prices are lower than everyone else's, Tesla is going to win. So regardless of how you are going to put this, I see this as seriously good news. Now, if Elon did not spoke about these political things, would the retention rate be even higher? Possibly. But higher than the previous year is definitely good enough for me. It's great, actually. And James says, people love their Tesla so much, some people drive Uber just to spend more time in their cars and talk about Tesla. There's a comment here that says, literally me. This is an actual proper advertisement by Tesla in Japan's Tokyo airport. For Tesla, this is perhaps the beginning of a completely new era. There are also scannable barcodes on each one of those. You can take your phone and scan it and then it will take you to a website. Japan is a great place for Tesla to advertise because Tesla sales in Japan are almost non-existent, even though it's one of the largest markets in the world. So it should be really easy to tell if advertising is actually incredibly effective in Japan or not. Here's the next big thing that's starting right now. The first Model 3 Highland has been registered in Norway. I suspect it's a demo vehicle, but it clearly shows that the deliveries are about to start. So indeed, we will see, I believe, refresh Model 3 deliveries this quarter in Europe, certainly. And I see other people saying that it is registered to Tesla itself for now, but I would expect the deliveries to start pretty soon. And they should start in Europe first, because if you look at China, for the previous week, domestically within China, we have 1,000 deliveries approximately. So right now, everything is being exported from China, which probably is going to create a bit of a delivery wave this quarter. And you would think that stock would not like bad delivery numbers within China, but it's actually up. I think Tesla exporting everything is also a potential signal of increased demand, or a slow ramp of every fresh Model 3, but the market is going with, we think there's demand. Keep in mind though, everything is up today overall. Oh, it was also a national holiday in China last week, so Tesla's domestic sales would have been impacted during the period, and fewer than 10 old Model 3s were registered. Tesla is reportedly building a new structure at Giga Texas that will house part of a new Dojo supercomputer. This is certainly good news. The better Dojo does, the better full self-driving is going to be faster. And potentially also it's a huge opportunity. Morgan Stanley believes it could be worth hundreds of billions of dollars in the future. Tesla Model Y became the best-selling electric car in the world in August, selling twice as many vehicles as its closest competitor, BYD's Song. Why a Song when you can have a Y? And year over year, EV sales are up 45%. There's a somewhat misleading article on CNBC. Tesla's China EV sales fall 11%. Interestingly, throughout the whole article, there's not a single mention of the refresh Model 3. There's one mention that Tesla exports a lot of vehicles from China, and then there's a mention that Tesla was upgrading its factories. But they did make it sound bad that Tesla sales in China year over year decreased by 10.9%. That's all because there are no Model 3s to sell. And it's so easy to understand this context, but they either don't take the 5 minutes to do so or just want the most incendiary title they can possibly come up with. I think it's a bit of both. So if you only get your news from, let's say, CNBC, you're going to be somewhat misled. And a lot of retail investors actually do that, which creates a buying opportunity for us. Even Troy took a dump on that article, because the number in that CNBC article says that Tesla sold 74,000 cars in China, but that's actually domestic sales plus export, so that number is actually meaningless. And Tesla's logistics can be all over the place, so comparing a month to another month is usually not a good idea. You want to compare a quarter to another quarter. And here you go, you can see that Q3 of this year is definitely ahead of Q3 of last year, despite Tesla switching to the Model 3, to the new one that is still not sold, meaning mass deliveries have not started yet. It appears that you can actually comfortably sit on the Cybertruck with the front open, although it does appear to me that there's this thing that's sticking out that is probably making it a bit uncomfortable, but certainly it is doable. Looks like they are carrying quite a few items with them. I can't wait for it to come out finally. And here's a closer look at one of the covers from the other side. And before I thought that maybe the hood is actually a bad thing. I mean, if you sit there and it's close to your head, maybe not a great thing, but looks like there's quite a bit of space. And also, if you park it right, and if it's really hot, you will be protected from the sun. I am fairly tall though, so I would be pretty careful getting out of that position to not hit my head. And a Cybertruck has been spotted with rack mounts, as you can see here. Many people will find that to be pretty useful. $125 million Tesla Megapack battery in New South Wales, Australia is now fully operational. More V4 superchargers are being installed in the US, this time in Alabama. So there is a pretty big rollout happening right now. Tesla owners are using the iPhone 15 Pro's new button to unlock their cars, pop the front, or get the AC going. You can make the button do pretty much anything. I think my favorite one is opening the trunk, because when you walk up to the car unlocks itself anyway, so why would you want another button to do the same thing that Tesla already does? But popping the trunk, I see that as a pretty useful feature. Or getting the AC going. Maybe the AC one is the most useful, because then you don't need to go through the menus to turn on the AC. And for the trunk, I mean, it's not too hard to open once you come near it. Tesla workers in Germany raise concerns over working conditions. They are voicing their concerns over safety hazards and excessive workloads, leading to more than 1,000 workers joining the German labor union. That factory has about 12,000 workers. One of the leading complaints voiced by Tesla workers pertains to poor working conditions and safety hazards, with some citing extreme workload stemming from staff shortages and overly ambitious production targets. However, we do have pretty strong data that says that Tesla's factories overall are safer than other factories. That is not to say that Tesla does not have any accidents. There are accidents, and I think it is important to continue to improve safety, but we need to keep in mind that Tesla overall does pretty well. And in terms of extreme workloads, well, sounds like someone does not fit into Tesla's culture. There are many other employers in Germany that will provide you work that is not going to be as fast-paced. Despite the growing pressure, Tesla has refrained from entering into wage agreements that are considered standard in Europe's largest economy, Germany. This stance placed the electric car manufacturer in direct opposition to this huge union boasting 2.2 million members. Tesla just said that they are rejecting the claims by this German union, and recent media reports that health and safety provisions at its Gigafactory near Berlin were inadequate, stating that protecting workers' health was a top priority. Assuming that Lucid spent about $100 million on advertising, it means that they spent $12,500 on advertising for each vehicle delivered. For reference, Ford spends about $800 on advertising per vehicle delivered in the US, and Porsche spends about $1,400. Ray says, I wonder why paid advertising is not translating to increased sales for Lucid. I see their paid ads on YouTube all the time. I assume they are on other platforms too, but sales just keep going down. There's this new Model 3 wagon concept. What do you think? I like it. This, of course, is not officially from Tesla. This is just a render. Kia today announced full pricing by vehicle trim for its all-new 2024 EV9, the brand's first three-row SUV EV, and starts at $54,900. You only get 223 miles of range though, but if you spend $59,200, you'll get 300 miles of range for a rear-wheel drive vehicle. I agree with Sawyer here. This model should do very well for Kia. It's about the same length as the Model X and has a lot of tech included. It can tow 5,000 pounds. Pricing is decent for what you get, and the design is great. It should qualify for some level of EV credit next year and get Tesla's charging standard later down the line. Yeah, I think the pricing is definitely quite reasonable, and I am wondering how the margins are going to be for this vehicle. If you're looking for a more affordable three-row electric SUV, I think this is it. We know that Tesla is working on its own van. It could be a Mercedes Sprinter-like van, or just an actual bigger SUV. It would be good to get it out as fast as possible. The Kia SUV also has bidirectional charging, so in theory, if it's set up correctly, you might even be able to power your house if your house loses power. And their light trim, which should be the cheapest one, the one that's only rear-wheel drive, does 0 to 60 in 7.7 seconds. For such a big car, I would say that's pretty alright. But the range of that one is pretty low. If you increase the range, then the 0 to 60 goes down to 8.8 seconds. Now, that's not really fast at all anymore. There is nothing quite more that I dislike when walking on the street and then having a diesel semi pass by me. Oh, the whole place just stinks then. But One Energy has unveiled the initial configuration and energization of its 30 megawatt electric semi-truck fleet charging site located in Ohio. The future is exciting. Faraday Future today announced that Chris Brown, the singer, will become the next FF91 2.0 Futurist Alliance owner and developer co-creation officer. No, this is not the joke, says Sawyer. The company, by the way, is down 99.85% with a market cap of just $21 million. General Motors said it was laying off nearly 200 additional workers due to the UAW strike, adding a sixth impacted plant. And GM also submitted a new contract proposal to the UAW labor union. Let's see what happens after this one. Morgan Stanley's Adam Jonas has released a new Tesla note. Next generation software-defined vehicles may blur the lines between the automobile and the mobile device market. He also reiterated his $400 price target for Tesla stock. So even despite the recent price cuts, they are insisting on $400 per share. Even after Rivian raised money, Gary Black still likes Rivian, but he is short Polestar. I can certainly understand the temptation to invest in Polestar. I mean, if you look at the stock chart, it has been going down exactly like a star down a pole. And in both cases, you know, you shouldn't really participate and watch because you just end up with less money, but at least you will be entertained. Mercedes announced they deliver 10,400 battery electric vehicles in the US in Q3, up 284% year over year. That's actually pretty good. I tried a few Mercedes EVs and I really like their suspensions. I especially liked the EQS. Of course, the tech was a bit behind, and that's being generous, but the driving experience was pretty good, although that vehicle is preposterously expensive. There's no way I'm buying that. The one I drove was 180,000 Canadian, so $132,000. If you like really nice materials, then yeah, you will like the car, but you will pay a lot for that. But yeah, overall, I really liked how the car handles and how good the suspension is. It's stiff, but also very soft at the same time. It's a bit difficult to explain. So you can corner and you can turn very well, but you can also go over any pothole and you won't really feel anything. Teslas handle better, but the ride is pretty harsh, at least compared to that Mercedes SUV. And I would like to thank all my Patreon supporters for supporting the channel. By joining my Patreon, you will get access to how much I think it is fair to pay per Tesla share each year between 2023 and 2033. If you sign up for the investor tier of support, you will also get my valuation model of Tesla stock with a 45-minute video walkthrough. And YouTube says you should watch this video next, but if you haven't finished watching that discussion about the future with Elon Musk, watch this one first. My name is Matt Posius. Like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.